views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Welcome to Lyme Talk Radio with Dr. Pat Baccili. Epic healing for an epic life. This inspiring show highlights leading-edge solutions, groundbreaking research, headline topics, and tools for holistic healing and wellness. This hit show is dedicated to raising awareness, promoting advocacy and prevention, and supporting initiatives for optimal health. Dr. Pat is passionate and focused on life-saving results reaching far beyond Lyme disease, providing a forum for powerful stories, heart-opening experiences, and hope-activated solutions. Dr. Pat will shine a light on the many shades of Lyme disease, fueled by a body-mind-spirit remedy. Now here's your host, Dr. Pat.
Hey, everybody. It is so great to be connecting with all of you. I need to give a shout out from my main man, Brian. Hey, Brian, I just want to say hi to you. How the heck are you today?
I am doing quite well. How are you?
It's so great.
Okay.
It's so great. And shout out to Chris and all the folks at WBOQ. We have got something epic planned for our partnership with WBOQ that I haven't even told Chris about. Haven't even told him about. Why? Because we like surprises from time to time. I want to tell you guys a little bit about a surprise that I did not like. Did not like this surprise. So you're standing out there one day, and my guest today, my very special guest, Alicia Healy, she's going to talk about this. But you're standing up one day, and there you are. You think you are given your best workshop called, now this is me, How to Live Your Greatest Dream. So you're standing up there, and you're given a workshop, and by the end of the day, all of a sudden, you look at your right ankle, and it's the size of a giant grapefruit or a small melon. Now you're thinking to yourself, and everybody around you is like, well, you know, dude, like you're pretty clumsy. So that's got to be you just banging up against stuff. And 11 years ago, and you're thinking, well, maybe I did. But then all of a sudden, you go on a journey. And you go on a journey about, wow, you didn't bang anything, but something is just not right. Well, here's what we know. 11 years ago, and I'm even going to go further back than that. And you look at what your life was like growing up. So my guest, Alicia Healy, young child, active, loved to spend time outdoors playing sports, going to camping with friends. She and I could have been sisters from another mother or father or something because we love doing those things. 10 years old, she attended a summer camp, and she's going to tell you about this, and became very ill. Flu-like symptoms. I remember sitting in my living room of the house that we just built in Neshannock Station, New Jersey, with 104 temperature, a temperature that was so bad, it blew out my smell organ. And people around me just thinking, you know what, maybe you just got a little cold you can't get over. But here we are today. We've got a little story to tell. What is it that happened to Alicia? Down the road she began. A number of unexplained symptoms, chronic fatigue, anxiety, neuropathy, muscle weakness. And I can't even tell you, there's a whole bunch of other stuff here that we're going to talk about. But the question really is, and the message really is, you know, what is it that she has now come to the forefront now a spokesperson about? You know, when you have those kinds of conditions and you persevere, you go through college, but then this mystery disease or whatever it is, you know, all of the above, one or two things can happen to you. You could become extremely curious about it, or you can pretty much give up. Many people do one or the other. It's hard to kind of stay in the middle. But what was this thing? After 30 doctors, 8 major hospitals, vision and hearing loss, extreme memory loss, what was it? Alicia, it's so great to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Big mystery disease. So, yes. What did you discover and how was it discovered for you?
I found out I had Lyme disease and I actually was told that all I need was 2 weeks of antibiotics and that I would be okay. And then for about 2 months that worked, and I started to regress significantly. So for the next year, they spent looking for every other reason that it could have been. And when I finally went back to treating for Lyme, I noticed a big change.
Tell me about the change? Because let's get a sense of what you were before. I mean, I just did a very high level review. Tell us what this was really like for you, because I mean, we really brush over some of this.
Well, I think that when it first came on, I remember we were at this campfire and I didn't notice anything was wrong. I just saw that, I felt horrible. It felt like I was going to die. And, I was drenched in sweat and I could barely move. And, it was just like nothing ever came up in our head that there could be something wrong. And then as we go through and it first started to come in, I just noticed that I felt different. I don't know if it was overnight or over time, but I didn't feel like myself. And I always had this feeling that something was wrong, but I just couldn't put my finger over it. And as time went on, these feelings turned more into symptoms, and it started to come into what would be, for the next 15 years, would be a huge medical mystery for me.
Mm. Yeah. And so I love what you said. You said what, for the next 15 years? How many years did you say?
15.
Right. I have to say it again because, there's such a misconception. And as a matter of fact, it's really fascinating to kind of have you and I sitting here talking about this. I mean, it's really amazing that we're actually here to talk about it. And to be able to talk about it in a way that we can share our experience and our strength and our hope. What was this like? I mean, if we could just take a minute and go back in time, because, today you and I are here having a conversation, and there is more information now out about Lyme disease, and as well as more misinformation. Actually, Susan Green and I did a show last week about misinformation. But there's more information out there now. 15 years ago, though, really not so much. Not the internet, really. What was this like for you to go from hospital to hospital, doctor to doctor, to try to, it's like a puzzle, to try to put it together?
Well, I feel like being a teenager and a young adult in any sense is a difficult thing to begin with. And then when you take a serious illness and compound it with it, it makes it that much more difficult. And then over time, this illness that I had, it couldn't be explained. It was poorly understood. I couldn't relate to a lot of other people because when they asked me, what was wrong, my answer was, I don't know. And that was a lot of the same questions my doctors had. And I think that when doctors don't know, one of the first places they go is psychiatry. And I spent a lot of time, focusing on those issues, and that actually turned out to be, I've seen it today with individuals with Lyme disease who are sent to psychiatry, and you kind of get a sense of, maybe it's not physical.
Right.
Maybe, if it doesn't make sense, maybe I'm wrong. And I think that's something that a lot of people struggle before they're diagnosed, like how, is it me, or why do I feel the way I feel? I think those are a lot of feelings that people who have these kind of symptoms go through. And it's a fear. A lot of the times you wonder if, you're doing something wrong, you're missing something. Because at the end of the day, I think we can agree that everyone knows their body, but not everyone understands what, it means when you get sick.
Right.
And I think it was a very scary place and a very scary time.
Well, and this is really part of why we're doing what we do. And we're taking a message out into the world so that people, can have a recognition of even to know the questions. I mean, I would imagine you didn't even know the questions to ask, did you? I mean, we sometimes we go to doctors and advisors, and we put our bodies and our faith in them being able to come up with a solution or a resolution. Have you had to be your own, let's just call it, examiner over the past 15 years?
I have. When I had gotten a diagnosis that was just anxiety or depression, or even, I kept having to say no. I know my body. This is, and it actually got to the point where when I had lost my memory, I had gone from A's in school to not being able to read, and I had to fight a lot of that. Because you're told, well, anxiety can cause you to lose your memory, and I fought a lot, to get them to understand and to push for tests, and I think it's a difficult thing to go through.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk a lot more with Alicia about this. We're going to let everybody out there. Alicia's fight against Lyme, and there's a fundraiser here that she puts together, and this is what many, many folks have had to do. When we are living in a world where, first of all, you got something going on that the medical profession doesn't really look at, understand, or categorize as even existing. And you are somebody that has the tenacity and the perseverance that Alicia has, you start to take action. When we come back, we're going to be talking with Alicia about what was this journey like? How did it affect growing up? And what was it like for her as these symptoms progressed throughout the years? Was it the same? Were there new ones? How does it show up? And later on in the show, we're going to be talking about how you turn hopelessness into hope and action. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Chris Stanis is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by
Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Baccili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this.
We have so much to share.
Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots.
People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic.
Are you feeling broken from your relationships? Are you second-guessing yourself about friends, family, and lovers? Tune into the hit show that's creating a buzz in the love-seeking community, Love Seeker Radio, finding love for your authentic self with renowned love coach Heather Lynn. Tired of dissatisfying relationships? Kiss them goodbye and power up your love seeker energy. Coach Heather Lynn reminds you that you can just be you, the beautiful and perfect you. Visit heatherlynncoaching.com to learn.
Tune in to The Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life. life. Each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit jenroyster.com for more information.
Enlightening, humorous, and compassionate. Listen live to The Kelly Ballard Show, insight and inspiration from the great beyond. Kelly is a fourth-generation medium and intuitive who covers topics ranging from grief, spirit guides, and listening to your intuition. Kelly can help you get answers and guidance from the other side with a little bit of humor and a lot of healing. Tune in to The Kelly Ballard Show, Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time here on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
1230 WBLQ. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. It's so great to have all of you here. If you want to find out more about Lyme Talk Radio, go to TransformationTalkRadio.com, or you could go to LymeTalkRadio.com. For those of you here, losing everything but gaining more. Alicia Healy's fight against Lyme disease. And this is a story that it's impossible to have a journey like Alicia's go unnoticed. But many, many places in this country, it does go unnoticed, unrecognized, or even unanswered. Alicia, before we start to talk about the symptoms, the journey, and where you are today, what's the best way for people to find out more about you?
The best way for people to find more about me is I have a Facebook, Alicia's Fight Against Lyme. I posted some of my experiences with Lyme disease. Mm-hmm. And also on that Facebook, I open up to a lot of questions about my experience with Lyme disease.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's talk a little bit about, the journey. Let's talk a little bit about, where you were, where you are today. And what was your experience? I mean, you've heard me comment a little bit about, what the experience might be for somebody in the healthcare field today. What is that experience? Is there an experience where people could go and say, yeah, I'd like to have a Lyme test and actually get one that works? What was your experience like?
Well, I had probably, you had discussed how I had seen maybe 30 doctors across 8 hospitals. I don't think there was one doctor that didn't test me for Lyme disease, honestly. I kept getting things like, wow, your symptoms appear very Lyme-like. And, and they kept, every time the test came back, they would be kind of baffled. And, when I had asked further about it, they said, don't worry, the tests are accurate. So at the back of my mind, Lyme disease was an idea that I had put to rest. A long time ago, and it was kind of always a little bit of a wonder, but without have ever seeing a tick bite, I didn't even think twice about it for the longest time.
I know. I mean, and, you don't think about it at all, but in fact, were you shocked when you discovered this is what's going on with me and what do I do next? Or was it one conversation after another with doctors, you trying to explain what was going on in your body?
I think when I finally was told that I had Lyme disease, a lot of my doctors were shocked. Mm-hmm. And the initial response was, well, you'll be treated in no time. And so, that's a hard experience because you don't think, when you're in the healthcare field, you have this kind of perception that you get a diagnosis, you follow the treatment, and everything works out. And so I was thrown for that second loop when after the antibiotics, after being treated for 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't feel better, and I still noticed significant deficits that 2 or 3 months later really got significantly worse.
When you talk about significantly worse, people don't necessarily have an idea what we're talking about here. This is really kind of the conversation that many people don't quite understand. But significantly worse can show up as, masking some other disease. Everything from MS to arthritis to you name it. What does significantly worse look like for you? I mean, I mentioned earlier loss of memory, loss of vision. I mean, this is real in the journey of this disease, isn't it?
Yes.
Brian, why don't we go to a short break?
Will do.
Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information. Are you ready for a radical shift in your way of being? Are you seeking a more deeply connected and fulfilling life? Awakened Living Radio is a show dedicated to helping you embrace a life filled with profound peace, connection, and happiness. TJ Woodward is passionate about helping you find your clarity, balance, and purpose. Join co-host TJ Woodward and Dr. Pat Baccili on the first Monday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific Time for Awakened Living Radio on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
My dream is to end homelessness.
My passion is living a green life.
My dream is to end poverty.
My passion is volunteering.
My passion is making a difference.
My dream is to cure Lyme disease.
My passion is rebuilding communities.
My passion is helping those in need.
My passion is caring for the elderly.
My dream is to find a cure for cancer.
My dream is to leave a better world for my children.
We all have that special passion, that lifelong dream that drives us to live our lives with meaning and to create a better world. No matter what drives you, we can all make an impact. Dr. Pat Baccili is helping others make their dreams come true, so we can all help make our world a better world.
To learn more about how Dr. Pat is building a community of sharing hope, strength, funds, knowledge, and information, visit abetterworldcrowdfunding.com today. That's abetterworldcrowdfunding.com.
Tune in to Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fontaine on TransformationTalkRadio.com and get ready to stir up your passions, remove your blocks, and shift into an entirely new existence. Speaker, teacher, channel, clairvoyant, Leslie Fontaine is a transformation catalyst who channels a powerful energy from source to catapult listeners into living the life they were born to live. Whether it's shifting from scarcity to abundance, from emotional pain into joy, or from illness into health, Leslie will help you step into the true essence and power of all that you are with the help of the Ascended Masters and Archangels. You will not be the same. Visit TransformationTalkRadio.com for show dates and times and LeslieFontaine.com to say yes to explosive abundance.
1230 WBLQ.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to the show. It's so great to have all of you tuning us in, turning us on. As I said before, it is awesome here for us to be able to have this amazing young woman on the show today joining us here to take out a story of what it means to become a Lyme disease advocate, where that journey begins, what it's like, and how do you move beyond the horrific nature of Lyme disease to then become a spokesperson, an advocate. Losing everything but gaining more. Alicia Healy's fight against Lyme disease. She's joining us here today, and we're talking about what does this look like? What is the experience like? And when you start on this journey, as Alicia has 15 years ago, you would think that fast forward to where we are today, and that things would have progressed and, we'd be all doing the happy dance as Brian played before, but we're not. Alicia, thank you for joining me here today. Also, let's talk about what are some of the roadblocks, what are some of the barriers that were in the way of you actually even getting to where you are today, and what do you think our greatest challenges are right now?
I think one of the main barriers is that a lot of people don't have any idea that they have Lyme. That they have a bunch of mysterious diagnoses or misdiagnosis that they kind of hold on to, and they don't get better, they get worse, and you get into a cycle where you accept it as fact, and that's what your life is. And I've seen it a lot of people that have Lyme disease that, it's not, I have Lyme disease, it's I have chronic fatigue syndrome, or I have fibromyalgia, or I have this. And I think that until we recognize Lyme disease as a mainstream issue, a lot of people will go under the radar and not get diagnosed and may even lose their lives because of that.
Well, and, let's talk about that because, up until recently, we weren't even talking about Lyme disease of any nature being something that could cause the loss of lives. And, we've seen the CDC change its information about it. And I also refer to Washington State Department of Health and what they have up on Lyme disease and how to protect oneself about Lyme disease. It's just quite comical. Like when you get bit, like embedded ticks should be removed by using a fine tip tweezers. Hello, cleanse the area with antiseptic. I mean, this is on the health website in the state of Washington. It says, the tick is unlikely, that the infection is unlikely to occur before 36 hours of tick attachment. Like, did you even know when your tick was attached to you, Alicia?
I did not, and I think that one of the biggest problems is the ticks, especially in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
They can look as small as a freckle. I've seen a lot of images where it says, do you think that you would know if you were bit by a tick if you saw it? And then it has to really point and magnify to where the tick actually is. And, you don't feel them. It's amazing how almost stealthy they are when it comes to being bit by a tick.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the barriers, for yourself. We talked about a few of them in the show. You've come across many, but 15 years later, you're here and you're an advocate. And tell me what that role is like for you. What is that like for you? Beyond anything else you've done in the past 15 years, you're also an advocate. You're somebody that is getting a message out there about what the disease is, the co-infections, the treatments, and even, Alicia, given all of the books now that have come to the forefront, right, about Lyme disease, we did the first show on Lyme disease. I don't know if you know this. We did the first show on Lyme disease in 2005, and people thought we had lost our mind, but we didn't, because we really shined a light on this in a state that doesn't think that the tick crosses the lines, the state border. But for you, you are still like the Energizer Bunny. You're still ticking. What does it mean to be an advocate? What is your life like?
I think that in being an advocate for Lyme disease, it's important to let people know, I think the first job is to reach out. When you see somebody who has an illness that's not explained, or someone who's wondering what's wrong with them, and they're just getting worse and they can't find an answer. I do a lot of reaching out to other individuals, and I ask a lot of questions, and I share my story. And oftentimes I find that these individuals who go on to be diagnosed with Lyme share very similar stories. I think at the same time it's important to have an open conversation with doctors about Lyme disease. I know that my doctors, a lot of them don't believe that I should still have Lyme disease symptoms, but what I've done is I've actually gone back to those doctors, and and I said, look, this is where we started, this is where I am now. I know that you don't agree with this, but my life has changed. And when they see that difference, doctors who for years have been following me and know me, and I walk in and I'm like a different person, it really redefines in the medical field their perception of Lyme disease patients.
Well, one of the things that we don't really understand really is the extent by which this disease is prevalent in the world. And the reason we don't is because it shows up as the great imposter. What are some of the diagnosis? What are some of the things that you were diagnosed as having along the way in 15 years? Or did they just say, we don't know?
Some of my early diagnoses were their anxiety and depression and ADHD. That changed into more of a chronic fatigue syndrome, which later on in my teens, I ended up getting mononucleosis. And so a lot of my symptoms were attributed to that. I was told to have post-viral infectious disease. By the time I had entered college, I had presented with a lot of symptoms very similar to MS, multiple sclerosis, and I was diagnosed with a disease called hereditary spastic paraparesis, which is muscle weakness of the legs. It's kind of a similar disease to MS. And then as it progressed, later on, I got diagnosed with narcolepsy when the sleep had completely interrupted my sleep cycles. I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease when I started having movement disorders. And at the most advanced stage, I was diagnosed clinically with dementia or severe cognitive decline. So there was multiple diagnoses, and they all related back to the Lyme, which was really fascinating, actually.
This is really the dilemma for people because they really get out. I think this is one of the major barriers that we were talking about. It's one thing to not have the disease recognized, but it's a whole other thing to be, to be diagnosed with something that you actually don't have. And then to be treated for that, only to find out that whatever the treatment is for that actually doesn't necessarily work. And then off you go. If you do not have psychosomatic or if you do not have depression before you start this, that journey alone had to affect you emotionally. Did it not?
It did. One of the things that I'm very open about is that you feel a sense of self-blame. It's really hard to come to terms when you're told that you should be getting better or you should be feeling better, and you just don't. I mean, you could treat for any disease in the world, but if it's Lyme disease and you're not treating for Lyme disease, you're not going to feel better. Mm-hmm. And I think that was one of the hard things is one of the big questions that was always at the back of the mind is, why am I not getting better?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And isn't that the question? Why am I not getting better? Why am I not getting better? But we know the answer about why you weren't getting better, correct?
Yes.
And the answer is you have a disease that has many faces. Give us a breakdown of how the world looks at Lyme disease and what we now know about its co-infections.
I think a lot of people are starting to learn more about Lyme disease. I hear a lot more now than I ever had before. A lot of people stop and say, oh, Lyme disease, that's really bad. Where before, Lyme disease was something like it had the same amount of pull as maybe the common cold, and I think a lot of people are starting to realize how serious it is, but they need to see more of it and hear more of it to really know how severe the effects of Lyme disease can be.
What is it that, you say if you were sitting down right now and you had the president and the first lady in front of you? I know what I would say to them. I would say to them, remember the time you were on Martha's Vineyard with your children here a couple of years ago? Yeah, I would have a conversation with them. But what would you say to them? If Michelle Obama were here today, what would you say to Michelle about this? Because, the First Lady is an enormous advocate of health and wellness and fitness. And I wonder what would happen if she had an insider view of this. What would you say if you had an audience with her?
I would say, we have all these health issues in our country, like obesity and high blood pressure and diabetes and blood sugar, but no one brings up Lyme disease, and I would ask her if we can change the way we look at health, because the amount of people getting infected with Lyme disease and the amount of people who don't know they have Lyme disease is becoming just as much of an epidemic as obesity, or high blood pressure or diabetes, and it's estimated that by 2020, 1 in 2 Americans will have a chronic illness. Where is that chronic illness coming from? Is it from the way we live our lifestyle, or is it from diseases that we aren't recognizing, like Lyme disease, going undetected? And I think that's an important question I would ask her.
Yeah, that would be a great question to have. So for you, how have you been able to live such a life of perseverance, tenacity? I mean, how have you been able to do this? Despite all of the diagnosis, despite the pain, what is it that keeps you moving forward? What is it that, enables you to put one foot in front of the other and speak out?
Well, I feel like a lot of times I straddle the line between giving up and keeping fighting. And especially when I didn't know what was going on, I had to hold on to other things, like what was important to me and what I wanted to do. And so my goals and my dreams held me forward, or helped me push me forward. But since then, with the Lyme disease, it's been something that has kind of transformed those goals, and advocacy has been a huge one of those.
You're out in the world now, and you're still undergoing treatment. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you hopeful about where you are right now? What is there to learn here, Alicia? What would all of us benefit from?
I think that for anyone that has Lyme disease, I think that vigilance is so important. And if you are infected by Lyme disease, that you need to speak out. And I think those are things that are going to become excruciatingly important over the next couple of years. And just keep having the conversations about Lyme disease and what it is and what it does.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to take a short break, Brian. When we come back, we're going to be speaking with Alicia about what are some of the discoveries we've made. What are some of the latest information that we have from some of the most incredible organizations? What are some of the questions you might want to ask your doctor, and how can we all take a bite out of Lyme? Let's take a short break, everyone. We'll be right back.
I bought a toothbrush, some toothpaste, a flannel for my face, pajamas, a hairbrush, new shoes, and a case. I said to my reflection, let's get out of this place.
My dream is to end homelessness.
My passion is living a green life.
My dream is to end poverty.
My passion is volunteering.
My passion is making a difference.
My dream is to cure Lyme disease.
My passion is rebuilding communities.
My passion is helping those in need.
My passion is caring for the elderly.
My dream is to find a cure for cancer.
My dream is to leave a better world for my children.
We all have that special passion, that lifelong dream that drives us to live our lives with meaning and to create a better world. No matter what drives you, we can all make an impact. Dr. Pat Baccili is helping others make their dreams come true so we can all help make our world a better world.
To learn more about how Dr. Pat is building a community of sharing hope, strength, funds, knowledge, and information, visit abetterworldcrowdfunding.com today. That's abetterworldcrowdfunding.com.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Ronnie DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Ronnie DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Ronnie DeLuce at info@ronniedeluceonradio.com and visit mtheholisticretreat.com. Dr. Ronnie DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
Transformation Talk Radio is dedicated to the education and awareness of Lyme disease.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Lyme Talk Radio. I'm Dr. Pat, joined here by Dr. Nusheen Darvish.
Dr. Pat Baccili and Dr. Nusheen Darvish will be bringing the most innovative, groundbreaking information, research, treatment innovations, and stories from those it affects every day.
I'm so excited to be talking about this. We have so much to share. Dr. Darvish and I are planning to do is connect the dots. People suffering with all sorts of chronic diseases, it's time. It is time for them to transform.
Tune into Lyme Talk Radio and help keep our mission strong.
For the loyal listeners out there that have been listening to this incredible show on Lyme disease, we are not going to let you down. We're going to come through stronger and enrich the platform for Lyme disease awareness through Lyme Talk Radio. The message will continue, the conversations will become stronger, and the healing epic.
How would you like increased health and vitality? How would you like to avoid the onset of disease as well as slow the aging process? This is all possible through a simple, safe, and natural process. Every day we are either moving toward wellness or away from wellness.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. I'd like to be your partner in achieving optimal health. Contact me now at maryjanemack.com or call 425-392-0659. Visit maryjanemack.com.
1230 WBLQ.
Just like the wide-winged dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, ooh.
Oh, Brian, play a little more of that.
Dove sings a song, sounds like she's singing. Ooh, baby, ooh, say ooh. And the days go by like a strand in the wind, in the web that is known. I begin again.
That's Alicia. That's exactly right. Thank you, Brian. Alicia Healy joining me here today. That is the song. You know what? This is really the journey of how you can rise up. And, I'm telling you, when you got walking around with Lyme disease, you are not going to go down without a fight. That is not going to happen. And there isn't a single person that I've talked to in 11 years, 12 years now going on about this, they got the gloves on, getting ready to go. But it is a journey, and it is hard. and what it takes is something that is indescribable for me, indescribable to even begin to talk about who this young woman, Alicia Healy, is. There's nothing that I am going to be able to say on this show to have all of you tuning in understand the pure determination. What gets her up every day and saying, look, I am not going to go down without a fight, and this is what we're doing. And so you can go and find Alicia on Facebook at Alicia's Fight Against Lyme. Alicia's Fight Against Lyme. If you missed any part of this show, by the way, we're going to have this show up in a little bit, and you're going to be able to hear it all over again. Alicia, I know you are, one of the questions that we did not get to answer, we had a little phone thing go on there, was, how bad does this get? How bad does this get? And thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me. At the worst, it was very scary how severe it got. I think the scariest part was the memory loss. Feeling like you're so smart one day, but all of a sudden you can't read and you don't know how to get home. And, everything is just kind of slow in your mind. And I know that for me at the worst, not only did these memory issues go on for months, but I was also bedridden for nearly a year from Lyme disease.
Mm-hmm. But that's really the deal. And, that's the kind of disease this is. I mean, it's one thing to really take a look at this and say, oh, Borrelia, oh, what is that? But that's not the whole picture here. We're talking about something that is so damaging, a tick bite, a little teeny tick. And it is the teeny tick. It's this little small tick. And it's interesting. I was telling you during the break, that I was looking at the state of Washington guidelines. I'm actually getting ready to write the secretary a little email. And I was actually, just watching, just looking at some of this incident rate, disease. And I was kind of looking at their instructions on how to actually take the tick out. And I thought to myself, wow, even something like that, we just are not educated about at all. I don't know that we want people to be scared to go out or afraid to go out in the forest or afraid to be out hiking. I don't know that's what we're saying. But a little education can go a long way, don't you think?
I definitely agree.
So tell me about what we can say to people. What would you educate folks about?
I would say that one of the most important things is that if you know something's wrong, it doesn't matter what the doctors say, or, if you don't feel better after getting treated for Lyme, definitely keep fighting. In terms of being outdoors, I would say to remain extra vigilant. Check your pets. Check yourself, check your kids. Make sure that every time that they go outside, you check. And if you get bit by a tick, document it. A lot of things that you can do to protect yourself. You can also send the tick for testing. Some labs do not only Lyme disease, but they do other diseases that ticks carry. This shows a lot about Lyme disease, but we tend to forget that there's a whole slew of other diseases that ticks carry. And until you know what the tick that bit you has, you'll never know what it could turn into.
Yeah. How have your friends and family been about this journey with you? I know you have friends on Facebook, very supportive, but how has this been for you with your friends, with your family?
I think a lot of people don't understand how severe Lyme disease can be until it happens to them. Or they're, like I said, it's been something that they've heard about, but they've never really seen it firsthand. And so with friends and family, I think I've had a lot of support. I and I think a lot of people have learned as well, who have kind of taken my experience and also joined the stand against Lyme disease. And that's been huge for me. I've been very grateful for that.
Wow. I mean, I think that, for most of us, we're trying to figure this out. Right? And I think when, we're thinking about this, something as Alicia, I mean, this is maybe just me. Maybe I'm being a little nitpicky, if I could say that. I'm on the ILAD site, and I'm looking at, how to remove a tick. It says the tick should be removed with fine-pointed tweezers, grasping it from the side where it meets the skin, gently pulling in the opposite direction, which is embedded, right? So it's saying that you don't pull it straight out, right? That's my understanding of this, right? That you pull it to the side. And then I go to a official state website, right? An official state website that says use the fine tip tweezers, grasp the tip close to the skin surface, pull upward with steady, even pressure. Don't twist or jerk the tick. Now, this may seem like a small bit of information, right? So if you're reading one from the ILAD site and it says pick it up, twist it the other direction, boom. Then you're coming to a state site that says, no, don't do that. This is a small point. Now, honestly, I am not a doctor. I'm not a medical doctor. So I don't know, what the impact, but something as something as important as how to remove this tick. How do we get stuff like this wrong? Do you know?
I think it's just a lot of misinformation. I've even seen things where it says that you have to put dish soap on a tick. And
put what on it?
Dish soap.
Dish soap, okay.
And, like stuff, or burn the tick off.
Burn the tick, right.
And those are things that you will absolutely not want to do, because anytime that you stress the tick, it's more likely to transmit the disease. It's like when the tick gets stressed, it's more likely to expel that disease into you. So I think a lot of the misinformation comes we just don't know, and everyone has theories of how it should be done, and they all kind of get caught up in everything.
Well, I think that there is a lot that we can do to educate, a lot that we can do to speak out, and I think that's what you're doing. You're really coming to the table and say, wait a minute, we're not going to go quietly in the night. I mean, there's so much for us to talk about, so much to say. Alicia, thank you so much for today. I have one last question. What's your personal message? What would you like to leave us with?
I would say my personal message is to keep raising awareness about Lyme disease. Make sure you talk about it. Make sure you look for it. Make sure you reach out to someone that has Lyme disease, because you never know what they're going through. Other things, keep vigilant, look out for ticks, and that would be my message.
Thank you so much for today. Please give out your information again, how people can find out more about you. If there's an email you want to give out, anything you want to give out, please.
Well, I could be reached on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Alicia's Fight Against Lyme. I could also be reached by email. It's at Gmail. It's Alicia, ALICIA, Healy, HEALY, @gmail.com.
Wow. Thank you so very much. Thank you all for tuning us in, turning us on. If you missed any part of that, please find out more about me at thedrpatshow.com. Please find out more about Lyme at lymeglobal.com or Lyme Talk Radio, and of course, Transformation Talk Radio and WBOQ. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Lyme Talk Radio with Dr. Pat Baccili, Epic Healing for an Epic Life. This inspiring show highlights leading-edge solutions, groundbreaking research, headline topics,
and tools for holistic healing and wellness. This hit show is dedicated to raising awareness, promoting advocacy and prevention, and supporting initiatives for optimal health. Dr. Pat is passionate and focused on life-saving results reaching far beyond Lyme disease, providing a forum for powerful stories, heart-opening experiences, and hope-activated solutions. Dr. Pat will shine a light on the many shades of Lyme disease, fueled by a body, mind, spirit remedy. For more information, visit LymeTalkRadio.com and tune in next time.